In this story, we follow a prisoner known for his unparalleled ability to escape from any prison. However, he encounters a prison like no other, its security so formidable that no prisoner has ever glimpsed the outside world. Will our protagonist be able to escape from this prison? Let's find out. The story begins in a prison in Colorado, where we meet a prisoner named Ray. Another inmate warns Ray that a prisoner named Jack is planning to attack him the next day. While Ray is in the prison yard, Jack attacks him. However, Ray overpowers Jack and beats him like a dog. But because of this fight, the guards catch Ray and lock him up in a secret chamber within the prison. In this part of the prison, most dangerous inmates were kept and the guards monitored them 24/7. The room where Ray was held was completely sealed and the door could only be opened with a password. Once inside, Ray started thinking of a way to escape from this prison. During this time, he discovered that right below his room was the prison's garage, and there was a fire truck parked there. Ray was locked in this room for several days, and during that time, he carefully observed the guards' daily routines. He noticed that the guards would go up to the roof to smoke, and it took them exactly 7 minutes to come back. Ray decided that he would escape from the prison within those 7 minutes. Ray's next task was to figure out the password for the door. To do this, he used the milk packet that came with his meals. He peeled off a layer of plastic from the packet and stuck it on the keypad. Soon, he was able to see the numbers of the password, and it was no big deal for Ray to arrange them in the correct order. One day, when the guards went to the roof for a smoke, Ray slipped out of his room and sent a message to his team outside. He told them to come near the prison at 4 p.m. the next day and create a distraction for the guards. As planned, Ray's team arrived near the prison at 4 p.m. sharp and set off a loud explosion. The blast caught everyone's attention, and chaos broke out as everyone started running around, taking advantage of the chaos. Ray slipped out of this room and made his way to the garage through the AC vents. The prison's fire brigade rushed out to respond to the explosion, and Ray managed to escape by clinging to the bottom of their truck. Once outside the prison, his teammates, Hush and Abigail, were there to pick him up. However, Ray didn't get far before the police caught him again. But just then, a man named Lester appeared and told the police to release Ray. After that, Ray and Lester went back to the same prison and met with the prison head. It was then revealed that Ray wasn't actually a criminal, but a businessman. He owns a security company, and his job is to test prison security. He goes undercover as a prisoner and tries to escape to assess how secure the prison really is. By escaping from prisons, Ray identifies security flaws and then fixes them in simple terms. Ray is a man who makes prisons more secure, and there isn't a single prison he can't escape from. The next day, when Ray went to his office, his business partner, Lester, introduced him to a woman named Jessica who works for the CIA. Jessica wanted Ray to test the security of a top-secret prison, but there was a catch. Ray's team wouldn't be given any information about this prison. Although Ray felt uneasy about this, Lester convinced him to take on the job. Ray was given a new identity as a Spanish terrorist named Anthony. This team implanted a GPS tracker in his body and gave him an emergency code. If he couldn't escape from the prison, he could use the code to get out by revealing it to the prison head. Ray's mission began and soon some people kidnapped him. They knocked him out and removed the tracker from his body so his team couldn't find the location of the prison. Hours later, when Ray woke up, he found himself trapped in a glass chamber surrounded by other prisoners, also locked in similar chambers. A little later, Ray met the head of the prison, who introduced himself as Hobbs. This surprised Ray, because he was told the prison head's name would be Marsh. Sensing something was wrong, Ray used his emergency code, but the prison head completely ignored the emergency code. Meanwhile, Ray's team was trying to locate him, but it was useless because the prison staff had removed the tracker from Ray's body inside the prison. Ray noticed that all the guards wore the same clothes and masks. They also beat any prisoner whenever they felt like it. During this time, Ray met a prisoner named Emil who extended a hand of friendship towards Ray. Emil told Ray that he hadn't committed any crime. He was in the prison because some people wanted to force him to reveal the whereabouts of his boss. Emil's boss, named Mannheim, was a very dangerous gangster, and the police from all over the world were searching for him. Since Emil was Mannheim's right-hand man, he was captured to get information about him. Ray soon realized that this place wasn't a real prison at all. It was actually a torture center where rich and powerful people sent their enemies to be tortured. Wanting to learn more about the place, Ray came up with a plan. He staged a fake fight with Emil to draw the guards' attention. Seeing them fight, the guards separated them and locked them in a small chamber. This chamber had bright lights of such high temperatures that no one could endure them. There were also cameras in the chamber, allowing the prison warden to watch them suffering. They were locked in this room. For several hours when their punishment ended, a doctor came to check on them, seeing Ray's condition. The doctor felt very sorry for him. When Ray asked the doctor about the location of the prison, the doctor didn't give him any information. After Ray came out of the room, he told Emil that the floor wasn't made of aluminum, but steel, and there were nuts and bolts at each corner of the floor. Ray asked Emil to find a metal piece to help open these nuts and bolts. Soon, the prison warden called Emil to his office and started questioning him about his boss, Manhunt. As usual, Emil kept quiet and refused to say anything angry. The warden beat Emil and tortured him severely. However, Emil managed to steal a metal piece during this time. When Emil came out, he asked Ray about his plan. Ray told Emil that the design of the prison suggested it was built underground. This plan was to remove the nuts and bolts to reach the surface. If they found a way out, they would escape from there. Emil agreed and handed over the metal piece to Ray. They had to go back to the torture room, so they started another fake fight. This worked, and they were thrown back into the chamber while hiding from the cameras. Ray began removing the nuts and bolts from the floor. Once he was done, he signaled Emil, who started shouting loudly to draw the guards' attention. Taking advantage of the distraction, Ray blocked the camera feed and opened the floor. He then jumped down into the space below. Ray started climbing up the pipes, but one of the pipes broke and water began flooding everywhere. Despite this, Ray managed to reach the surface. When he looked around, he was stunned to see that the prison wasn't on land, but on a huge ship floating on water. The broken pipe alerted all the guards, and seeing this, Ray quickly returned to his chamber outside the prison. Abigail and Hush went to Lester and told him that Ray was missing. They reported that Ray's location was unknown and the check he received for this job had bounced. Additionally, the woman who was assigned him the task was also missing. Abigail and Hush were sure that Ray was in trouble, but Lester brushed it off, saying that Ray was an expert and no prison in the world could hold him. After Abigail and Hush left, Lester called the prison warden and told him to keep Ray locked up in that prison for life. It turned out that Lester had intentionally trapped Ray in the prison so he could become the sole owner of the security company. Meanwhile, Abigail and Hush didn't give up and continued searching for Ray. During this time, Hush learned about an illegal prison called Tom, where wealthy people send their enemies to be tortured. However, no one knew where this prison was located. Back in the prison, Ray and Emil needed to find out where their ship was in the world so they could call for help. The next day, Ray met with the prison doctor and asked about the location of the prison, but the doctor didn't help him. As he was leaving, Ray stole a piece of cardboard to make a sextant, a device that could help him determine their location. A sextant is a device used to determine the location of his ship. To use this device, they needed to reach the surface of the ship. For this, they asked a Muslim prisoner named Javid for help. Jovid met with the prison warden and made a fake offer to become a spy in exchange for permission to pray under the open sky. The warden, unaware of Javid's real intentions, accepted the offer. That night. Javid went to the top of the ship and used the sextant to find the ship's location. After some calculations, they discovered that the ship was in the Atlantic Ocean near Morocco. Emil then informed everyone that he had an old friend living in Morocco. If they could get a message to him, he would definitely come to rescue them. Ray liked the idea and decided to meet with the doctor again. This time, the doctor agreed to help. He emailed Emil's friend with the location of the prison and the time they planned to escape. Finally, the day came when they were ready to break free from the prison. Meanwhile, Javid went to the warden and informed him about a big fight that was about to break out in the prison canteen. Hearing this, the warden sent all the guards to the canteen, leaving only 2 guards at the stairs leading up to the ship. Taking advantage of the situation, Ray started a fight in the canteen, which quickly spread among the prisoners amidst the chaos. Ray, Emil, and Javid made their way out of the canteen. They reached the stairs, overpowered the remaining guards, and took their guns. They grabbed the stairs and quickly moved up, but unfortunately, the warden spotted them and initiated a lockdown on the ship. During this lockdown, all the ship's doors were locked, and they couldn't reach the surface. With no other options left, they had to go back down. During this time, Emil's people also reached the ship, but they couldn't find the 3 of them. Suddenly, the ship's guards saw them running and started firing inside the ship. In the crossfire, Java was hit and badly injured. Seeing the worsening situation, Ray came up with a new plan. He decided to go to the ship's control room to cut off the ship's power. By cutting the power, all the doors would reopen, allowing them to reach the surface. Ray asked Emil to take care of Javid and went to the control room. Javid's condition was worsening, and he realized he wouldn't survive, so he told Emil to go on without him. Although Emil didn't want to leave Javid behind, he had no choice but to move forward. Ray reached the control room and cut off the ship's power. This action reopened all the doors and Emil was able to reach the surface. The guards quickly followed and started firing at Emil. Despite the intense firing, Emil stood his ground and took down the guards one by one. Javad also fought bravely against the guards, but unfortunately didn't survive. After Javid's death, the guards began searching for Ray to hide from them. Ray concealed himself inside a water tank, but then the ship's power came back on, and the water tank began filling up. The warden found out that Ray was hiding in the water tank, but before he could act, Ray pushed himself out of the ship. On the surface, the number of guards had increased significantly, so Umo also had to leave. However, he noticed Ray struggling in the water and threw him a ladder. Ray climbed onto the ladder, and they fired heavily at the ship, blowing up the barrels of oil on it. The explosion killed guards, allowing them to escape. Soon after, they reached the shore where a large vehicle arrived to pick them up. To their surprise, the person stepping out of the vehicle was Jessica. Ray was astonished to see her as she was the one who had sent him to check the security of the prison. It turns out that Jessica is actually Emil's daughter. She had sent Ray to the prison to rescue her father, but the bigger twist is that Emil is actually Mannheim. Everyone thought he was Mannheim's right-hand man, but he was Mannheim himself. He had been hiding his identity to protect himself from his enemies. Jessica then revealed the truth to Ray about Lester, how Lester wanted to become the sole owner of the company. A few days later, Ray met with his friends and told them the whole truth about Lester. When Lester found out that Ray had escaped from the prison, he decided to flee the country, but just as he got into his car, Hush knocked him out. When Lester woke up, he was still in his car, but it was now inside a large container. This container was part of a massive ship filled with 1,000s of containers, and no one knew where the ship was headed, and with this suspense, the amazing movie ends here. I hope you enjoyed the story.